The main task in life is simply this: to identify and separate the issues, so that through this we can clearly perceive which external factors lie beyond our control. Epictetus. The main task in life, if we look deeply and calmly, turns out not to be racing with the world or trying to embrace every twist of fate, but learning to recognize each problem like a skilled artisan untangling threads from a knotted spool. When we pause, observe, and categorize what comes our way, the once blurry picture of life gradually sharpens, like a lake settling after a heavy rain. There are things that belong to us, thoughts, choices, attitudes, efforts, like our hands, that we can grasp and direct. But there are countless external factors drifting like clouds in the sky, like a river that never flows backward. Others' judgments, the shifts of the times, unexpected fortunes and misfortunes. When we haven't distinguished that boundary, people often exhaust themselves swimming against the current, blaming themselves for things that were never in their grasp. But once we are awake enough to separate them, the mind suddenly becomes light, like someone setting down a heavy backpack after a long journey. We no longer waste energy on winds from the open sea, but focus on cultivating the inner garden where positive thoughts sprout, perseverance blooms, and peace bears fruit. Determining clearly what problems to face and what factors to let go doesn't make life cold or indifferent. On the contrary, it brings a profound freedom. Freedom from needless anxiety, freedom from unnecessary battles. Like a wise sailor who adjusts the sails to the wind instead of cursing the storm, we learn to adapt, accept, and move forward with a steadier heart. And in that moment, we realize that happiness doesn't come from controlling the whole world, but from the wisdom of understanding our boundaries, to live fully, serenely, and with positive energy amid the ever-flowing stream of life. We often fear more than we are hurt, and we suffer in imagination more than in reality. Seneca. Humans are like travelers walking in the thick fog of their own minds, where the shadows of fear are often stretched longer and darker than the truth. We tremble before scenarios that haven't happened, like a child terrified by the night wind imagining monster footsteps, when in reality, it's just branches tapping the window. True pain, when it arrives, is often brief and clear like a summer downpour, wet but fleeting, while pain in imagination drags on endlessly like a cold drizzle, seeping into every thought, weighing down our hearts without reason. We build towering walls of anxiety in our heads, imprisoning ourselves in rooms of panic, even though outside the sky remains vast and the path clear. This rumination tires the heart before the wound even appears, making us suffer before the challenge knocks. When we learn to step out of the labyrinth of imagination, facing reality directly with a clear gaze, we realize that most of what we worry about is just the trembling shadow of fear without solid form. And in that moment, the soul becomes light like a bird escaping a narrow cage, understanding that strength lies not in avoiding pain, but in living fully with reality where pain has limits, but peace can grow infinitely. Don't think that what is difficult for you is impossible for anyone. And if someone can do it, then surely it is within your reach. Marcus Aurelius. When standing before a high mountain of challenges, people often gaze at the cloudy peak and hastily conclude that it's a place only for the extraordinary, while they remain forever at the base. We forget that every path upward is made from very ordinary footsteps, slow but persistent, by people who were once tired, doubtful, and tempted to quit just like us today. Difficulty in the end isn't an impenetrable concrete wall, but like a heavy door that, with enough patience to push little by little, will open to the light beyond. When we think this is beyond me, we unwittingly lock our potential in a cage of fear. While the living evidence out there, those who have succeeded, whispers that the limit is just an illusion drawn by the mind. If someone with hands and a heart like ours can reach success, then the path they took isn't magic, but a chain of days filled with effort, learning, and rising after falls, things entirely within every person's capability. Realizing this is like the sun piercing through thick clouds, illuminating the hidden trail, so we understand that the peak isn't as distant as we imagined. Difficulty no longer becomes a sentence, but an invitation to grow, challenging us to discover the hidden strength within ourselves. And when we walk with that belief, each small step carries hope, each drop of sweat lights the way, until one day we look back and smile, realizing that what once frightened us was just the necessary step to reach a better version of ourselves. Difficulties train the mind just as labor makes the body robust. Seneca. Difficulties enter our lives like strong winds blowing through young sails, initially causing the boat to sway. But precisely through that, it learns to stretch firmly, to advance farther on the vast sea. Just as the human body becomes healthy through sweaty labor, our minds and souls are forged through life's collisions, challenges, and pressures. Each tough problem is like a rock placed in the familiar flow, forcing us to pause, think, find detours, or grow strong enough to overcome. And in that process, our observation, analysis, and perseverance are sharpened like a blade on a whetstone. If life were only smooth and easy, the mind would gradually become sluggish, like unused muscles, soft and lacking resilience against adversity. It's in the most struggling moments that we learn the most about ourselves, learning to control emotions, nurture will, and expand our vision. Difficulties, therefore, cease to be a fearsome enemy and become a strict but devoted teacher, silently building our inner strength day by day. Like a tree growing in storms with roots that grip deeper and firmer, a person maturing through hardships will possess a resilient spirit, steadfast against life's waves. And when we look back at the path traveled, we understand that the challenges that once exhausted us are the source of strength, nourishing our wisdom, helping us live more profoundly, confidently, and vibrantly amid a constantly changing world. Through each small step, we achieve great happiness. Happiness rarely comes like a brilliant lightning bolt tearing the sky, but often forms quietly from small, persistent footsteps on the long road of life. Each simple daily action, a time overcoming laziness, a moment listening to others with full heart, a decision to choose what's right, even if hard, is like humble bricks building a sturdy house of peace. We often dream of great joy in the distant future, forgetting that the present is handing us the seeds of happiness, waiting to be sown with patience and love. Those small steps may not make a sound, but they carry enduring power like water flowing tirelessly, day after day, carving deep into hard rock, eventually creating a vast river. When we patiently advance, even slowly, we learn to cherish the process, understanding that value lies not only in the destination, but also in each moment of living. Happiness, therefore, isn't a surprise gift from fate, but the sweet fruit of accumulation from effort, good habits, unwavering faith. And one day, when looking back at that seemingly fragmented path, we will smile and realize that those small steps have quietly led us to a complete life, serene and overflowing with profound joy.
Best quotes of all time, where the greatest quotes on the planet become your superpower.